Okay. Can anyone think of a reason what we can? Let me restart that. Can anyone think of a reason where we do not have to use fossil fuel to do anything in this society? Because I don't think there is any. Everything we do these days, we require fossil fuel to give us the energy we need. However, as good as fossil fuel are, there is consequences of using it constantly. One of the biggest ones that I'm going to prove to you guys today is the greenhouse effect. That is the one thing that will probably hurt us the most in the future as long as we continue to use fossil fuel. Now, the greenhouse effect is actually composed of nothing more than carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, fluoride, and ozone. And officially, ozone is one of the good greenhouse gas. But having all that gas released in our atmosphere, it actually created like a bubble that prevents heat from leaving our planet. And as more heat is getting trapped, our planet temperatures and our surrounding atmosphere goes up, which will cause many adverse effects into it. But how much fossil fuel are we actually reusing? In the U.S. alone, from the Environment Protection Agency, we are actually using 85% of all of our energy usage came from fossil fuel. That is a huge amount. That's not including renewable energy or nuclear energy. Now, although it says that throughout our fossil fuel consumptions and our greenhouse effect, we're actually using about 17% more. That we actually releasing 17% more of greenhouse gas ever since it was checked back in the 1800s. But in exchange for that, we actually have a GDP increase of 65% and a population increase of 21%. So it could be inferred that we increase our greenhouse gas because our population goes up. However, that is a bad thing. That's the one thing I think about. Since our temperature go up back in the 1800s, it actually went up to about 1.1 degrees Fahrenheit, based on National Geographic when they did the report on it. And most of the scientists said at the time, that is not normal. Although our planet goes through cooling and heating phase throughout its entire life, the fact that we are heating up the planet at a very fast rate compared to normal. And that's have wide consequences. First one would be the ice cap, and also most of the stuff, the North Pole, South Pole, they're beginning to melt. Those two poles holds up a huge amount of water that is not currently drowning out most of our land. As they continue to melt, we probably by the end of the century, we will probably have raised 7 to 23 inches of water. That's more than enough to drown out many of the islands like Tuvalu. And actually, on the International Action on Global Warming, the representative from Tuvalu actually asked most of the major power to try to curb their greenhouse gas emission. Because Tuvalu is actually disappearing, and by 2040 it will be gone if the greenhouse gas is not changed. And then that's one very bad thing. But here are some other side effects that greenhouse gas can probably do. Most of the regions that require runoff water from the mountains and glaciers for their drinking water will actually be very much in danger because by increasing temperature, water run off a lot faster. As such, they will have water shortage. And those regions will be gone if there's no water, because we know that we need water for any region to thrive. And also, most of the area in the United States and the world will suffer some extreme weather event like wildfire or a huge tropical hurricane. That's all possible because of changing of temperature. Although I cannot say as much as I can because this is actually some debatable since many scientists are actually debating whether greenhouse gas actually cause global warming or help make global warming. So as of now, I believe that everyone should just think about it or help see what you can or how everyone can help. benefit and lower greenhouse gas emission. And that's all. Thanks.
All right, well, we know the subject area from early on, but I don't know what the claim is. What is it? What's the inference that you're asking us to believe in this particular argument? It seems like it's not clear. You're presenting an informative speech about what the theory is on greenhouse gases' impact on the atmosphere. If your argument is that fossil fuel consumption is having a significant is making a significant contribution to global warming, say that. Don't dance around it. Give us a simple declarative sentence. You just seemed like you were sharing information with us instead of making an argument, and you need to make an argument. You need those declarative sentences. There's not really any structure laid out at the beginning of the speech, and internally I had trouble following the information also. It seemed quite a bit random, so you need to do that as well. Now, you do a nice job explaining what the theory is and how the basic concepts work, so that part's fine, and I think you do a nice job talking to the audience when you are speaking to us. You try to connect, you're looking at us, you speak in a sincere tone, and all of that is very effective at building some credibility for you. But what hurts your credibility is the absence of any proof on these things. You make a reference to this 1% change in a short amount of time, but I don't get a source citation on that. I don't know what that's based on. I don't know how atypical it is. I have one person who's apparently the UN representative from Tuvalu. I'm not sure I've ever heard of Tuvalu, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, although apparently it's not going to exist in a few years, saying, he's worried about this, but that's a political issue. That's not a scientific issue. He doesn't provide any evidence that it's happening. You seem to assume that it's happening, but like I said, there's not a news report, there's not a scientist, there's not some observational data that's reported here. You're passing on something that you've heard someplace, but you're not telling us where you heard it, and so how are we supposed to evaluate that? That's the biggest problem with the speech, other than the organization, is that the information is not being cited. Now, I know that you did research on this. I know that this information came from some source, but you haven't gotten it into the speech, and you need to do that. All right, thank you.